So we are going to discuss knowledge which helps one to understand who Krishna is. Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12. Do we have someone who wants to recite the Sanskrit?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I read.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa shanti arjavam acharya upasanam saucham stairyam atma vinigraha indriyatyesu vairakyam ahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosanudasanam asaktir anabhivishvanga uttaradara grihadishu nityam cha sama Chitatvam istani so vastitu mayu cha nena yogena bhaktir avya vicharani vivikta desa sevitvam aratir jnana samsiddhi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darsanam etach jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadhato Anyata.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Okay, do we have...
Translation.
Yeah, translation is also important.
Read, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Read,
you can ask someone to read. It is up to you.
I read, no problem.
You will read. Okay.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of the sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge. And beside this, whatever there may be, is ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Dvarakadish Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So particular practices are mentioned here. What should we do in order to develop such kind of knowledge in our hearts that will help us to become closer to Krishna? And after Bhagavad Gita, as far as I understand, you are going to study, you are going also to study Nectar of Devotion book. And at least you didn't study it yet, right? Nectar of Devotion book. No, not yet. Not yet. So in Nectar of Devotion book, we have 64 angas or processes of devotional service. And everything starts from approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Means basically there is no spiritual life without spiritual master. There is no traveling, there is no spiritual journey without spiritual guide. So everything starts from here. And the first 5 angas or processes of devotional service in Nectar of Devotion or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are related to our relationships with spiritual master. So the basis or the foundation of our spiritual life is mentioned in the very beginning of this verse, means that one has to approach bona fide spiritual master. Everything starts from here. And there is a need of particular mood in which one has to do it. Amanitvam adambhitvam means humility, and pridelessness means that one should feel himself full number one before spiritual master. You know, maybe you have heard this. Srila Prabhupada was telling this, that one should feel himself that he is full number one before his spiritual master. We should not act like a full number one, but we should feel ourselves to be full number one in order to be able to absorb to imbibe this spiritual message. So humility, pridelessness, approaching bona fide spiritual master, and also we are going to discuss some points from these verses, but I would like to emphasize these two lines, because these lines are about bhakti, especially about bhakti. And the name of this course is Bhakti Shastri. Bhakti Shastri. Srila Prabhupada, he wrote the purports for these books, and he made these Shastras. Really, Bhakti Shastri means he is presenting these books from devotional point of view. Of course, there is Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. These two books are written by Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami. He is eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these two books, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, are originally Bhakti books. 100% Bhakti, unalloyed Bhakti. But if to speak about Bhagavad Gita and Sri Ishopanishad, there is a chance for some people to write their own purports for Bhagavad Gita or Sri Ishopanishad, which will make these books to be impersonal, to be like Mayavadi books. It depends on particular perspective, how you are going to comment this book. So two books originally are Bhakti books, and these two, Sri Ishopanishad and Bhagavad Gita, there is a chance to distort the message, to spoil the whole thing. There is a chance. So here in this verse from Bhagavad Gita, Mai Chananya Yogina Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. It is about unalloyed devotion. It is one of the aspects of knowledge. There are some points in this list of qualities of knowledge. There are some points that people are developing, not those people who are devotees. Some people are jnanis, but they also can develop some particular qualities, like, for example, a desire to remain in secluded place. The desire to remain in secluded place is mentioned here in this verse. And it is spiritual, but at the same time, Mayavadis or impersonalists, they also can have the desire to be aloof from general masses of people. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes about the importance of devotion. Mai Chananya Yogina Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. Here he writes like this. The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So if one doesn't approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. But if one takes to devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, the other 19 items automatically develop within him. Srila Prabhupada was giving an analogy in his classes. He was saying that there are zeros, and there is particular digit like 1 or 2 or 3, which we can put before before zeros. And then, if we will put some particular digit before zeros, we will get 200 or 2000 or 2 million, 2 crore, 2 lakh, whatever. We will get some amount if we will put something before these zeros. It is mathematics. So the same way we can have different capacities, different qualities. And these qualities that we have, or material resources that we have, they are equal to zeros. And they have no value if we are not dedicating our qualities or our material resources or other capacities that we have. If we don't dedicate it to Krishna, then it remains zeros. But if we will put this digit 1 before all our zeros, means if we will put Krishna on the first place in our life, then all our capacities, whatever we have, whatever we can do, it can be dedicated to Krishna, it can be used in a mood of yukta vairagya, or real renunciation. Yukta vairagya means it can be used in Krishna's service with full understanding that actually we are not proprietors and we are not sources of our own capacities or qualities. Everything is given by Krishna, and in such way, everything has its meaning if we relate everything to Krishna, if we connect whatever we have, whatever we know, if we connect it to Krishna, then everything is very nice. Mai chananya yogina bhaktir avyabhicharini. So this particular line is really emphasized here in the purport. And many other qualities are mentioned here. Like, for example, let's go back to the beginning of this purport. In the very beginning of the purport, Srila Prabhupada wrote that this process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent men as being the interaction of the field of activity. But actually, this is the real process of knowledge. So what does it mean? That this knowledge is considered to be the interaction of the field of activity or kshetra. Some people, they think that our ability to think, our ability to analyze, it is brain activity only. It is based on some chemical processes that are going on in our brain, in our body, and so on and so on. Those people who are less intelligent, they think that consciousness, it is not the product of presence of the soul inside the body, inside kshetra. They think that consciousness is produced by some chemical reactions in the brain. You understand? By chemical reactions in the brain. That it is just about physics and chemistry. And of course, we have one lifetime. We're going to leave this body and no more life at all. Everything is destroyed. So it is atheism, it is materialism. So the same way they can think that this particular conception of knowledge, how we can get this knowledge, it is also produced by a materialistic brain of a person who thinks that he will have only one lifetime. We can get some arguments against this materialistic theory in this famous Life Comes from Life book. Life Comes from Life book. If you think that all the symptoms of life are coming just because of chemical processes and chemical reactions, then, dear scientist, Srila Prabhupada is saying in this book, then, dear scientist, you just mix all these chemicals in your laboratory and just in order to check, will you be able to produce life or not? Maybe you remember this particular argument in this book. Just mix everything all together in your using all your scientific equipment and so on and so on. Will you be able to produce at least not just one human being, at least one mosquito? Will you be able to do it? No, you will not be able. So these symptoms of life, it is spiritual phenomena. We have got this knowledge from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It is spiritual phenomena. It is not chemistry. It is not something just material. It is spiritual. It is part and parcel of Krishna, who is imprisoned in particular body of a human being, or body of a dog, of a cat, of a mosquito, of a cockroach, or rat, or whatever. So the same way people, they sometimes think that each and every idea that human being can have, it is only idea which is produced by this one-time lifetime brain. It is produced by brain. So the same way some of these materialistic people, they think that different religious traditions are also concocted by human beings. It is also the product of their consciousness. But we know it is not so. We know this from Srimad Bhagavatam 6 Canto Sakshat tu Dharmam Bhagavat Pranitam. Sakshat tu Dharmam Bhagavat Pranitam. It means that the laws of religion are given by Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. So it means that, of course, we have different ideas in our lives. Many people on this planet, and they have different ideas, conceptions, and theories. And some of these conceptions are produced by conditioned mind. But Supreme Lord, He can give knowledge also. He also can give knowledge. And He can give this knowledge which is called Apa Urusheya. Like you will get this understanding when you will be studying Shri Ishopanishad book. Apa Urusheya, it means it has no faults. It has no faults. It comes from Supreme Personality of Godhead. It has no faults. If we are going to produce some conception or theory, it will be our own product of our consciousness. And our consciousness is conditioned, and because of that, all this conditioning also will be will influence on our theory, and it will be manifested in our theory. Particular elements of our conditioning will be manifested, will be presented in the conception or theory which we are going to create. But spiritual knowledge is Apa Urusheya. So again, some people, they think that it is just interaction of the field of activity, but actually this knowledge is not produced by people. It is given by parampara, chain of disciplic succession. It is not invented by people. It is not invented by people. And also here in this purport, all these qualities are discussed and described. You can read this purport, or I suppose maybe you already read this purport because we had to skip one lesson. So you had some time, maybe you already have read this purport, otherwise you please do it. I will just emphasize some points from this purport, but you please find time to read it. So everything starts from amanitvam adamhitvam, or this ability to be humble. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The definition is given, definition of humility. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others, but from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, and we know we are not these bodies, we know because second chapter we already is done, and essays are written and shlokas are memorized, right? Second chapter is done. So we know that we are not these bodies. So anything honor or dishonor pertains to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. So if one understands, I am a soul, I'm not a body, basically it means no one can see me. One of the qualities of the soul is invisible. It is written there in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So people who are around me, they can judge. They can judge qualities of my gross material body, or they can judge qualities of my subtle material body, means my mentality, my character, and so on. But it is not me. It is just my conditioning. It is just my conditioning. It looks like, externally, it looks like this. But internally, who we are souls. Soul is invisible. We cannot see the soul, but we can awaken ourselves as we are souls. We can awaken ourselves for spiritual life. And the main process is to chant holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the more we progress, the more we can see that usually people who are around us, they are so much inclined to judge themselves and to judge others just on the basis on many very external things. external things. And if to speak about internal things, about devotion, about this desire to progress spiritually and so on, it is hidden. The desire to progress spiritually, it is hidden, not just hidden, it is hidden treasure. If we have the desire to progress spiritually, it is our treasure. We can have many material desires, but if we have this desire to take Krishna consciousness seriously and to progress spiritually, it is very important desire which will make our life successful in spiritual life, in spiritual meaning. But again, it is the desire which is invisible. The soul is invisible. And this desire is also invisible unless we decided to manifest this desire by our devotional service and so on. It is hidden. And it is so nice when the most precious things in our life are really hidden, right? If we have something precious, something expensive, we have to protect our property, we have to protect our funds and so on. Otherwise, someone can steal it or someone can become envious. But if to speak about the spiritual desire to progress spiritually, it is much more important desire, much more precious desire than any material resources. And the paradox of this situation is such that it is the most precious thing in this world, and materialistic people, they cannot estimate this the most precious thing in this world. They cannot estimate it. They are just hankering for different external things, and they are judging each other on the basis of these external things. And we are progressing spiritually, and we're trying to become more and more introspective, more and more introspective. Even the religious activities can become something which is external for a person. Someone can try to make his religious practice as one of the aspects of his external self-representation. Does someone want to read this part of the purport? Hare Krishna, devotees, Hare Krishna. Would you like to read this part of purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This one only?
Yeah, this one, this part.
Okay. I'll read, Prabhu. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently, sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as a religious mentor. As for actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. So you see, this religious life is not for pride. This religious life is for Krishna's satisfaction and for our salvation. It is meant for this. But some people, they are trying to advertise themselves. It is not good. And what else can be told regarding this? I just wanted to tell something about this and forgot what to do.
Prabhu, these are all bodily concepts, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. It is bodily concept. Me and mine. There is gross material bodies, there is subtle material body, there is reputation, there is materialistic self-esteem. It is about this. So, again, we are trying to be dasa anudasa. And dasa anudasa means that if we become a chain in this parampara, one more person in this parampara, then it is not for pride, it is not for self-advertisement, it is just for service. these activities on religious field. Okay, so I wanted to tell something important, but I forgot. Maybe I will tell later. Non-violence, also related to spiritual life. One should not kill animals. It is one thing. It is quite well-known point, but at the same time, one should, it is written here, one should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may be enlightened and leave this material entanglement. That is non-violence. So it is one of the aspects of non-violence. Non-violence, it is not just when we are not killing anyone or we are not damaging anyone's body, but it is also about preaching. If we have this spiritual knowledge but we are not sharing this spiritual knowledge with others, it means we commit violence to these people because they are suffering without this spiritual knowledge, and we can diminish the sufferings of people who are around us by distributing this real knowledge. There is an example. For example, COVID-19 or any other pandemic, and people, they are suffering and they have no medicine, no vaccine, and let's imagine that you have vaccine. It will be a crime if you are not going to share this medicine with others. So the same way, if we have this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and if we are not sharing this spiritual knowledge, it is also violence. And to follow this ahimsa principle or non-violence principle means that we should share this knowledge with others. Tolerance, Prahlada Maharaj is given as an example that to tolerate, it is important quality when we're trying to preach Krishna consciousness. So you see, basically the qualities that are mentioned here in this purport are related to two activities. One activity is our attempts to preach Krishna consciousness, and another activity is our own bhajan, our own internal spiritual life. So it is all about these two things. Simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. And acceptance of spiritual master, we told already that it is the foundation and the very beginning of spiritual life. Simplicity, to be straightforward, it is important when we are preaching to be gentle and to be straightforward at the same time. Cleanliness, external cleanliness means to take bath, and internal cleanliness means to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Steadiness, to be very determined to make progress in spiritual life, and self-control, and what else? And attempts to transform false ego to real ego. Just one moment. Yeah. This point is very important because we cannot destroy ego itself. Ego is needed, but we should try to transform ego from false ego to real ego by practicing devotional service. By practicing devotional service, we become more and more established in this understanding that we are servants of Krishna. So how we can change our ego? Just by accepting particular abhyas or practice, which will help us to transform our consciousness. On the basis of this abhyas, our self-conception also will be transformed, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita 11.54. Bhaktya sakya aham evam vidhorjuna gyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you, and can thus be seen directly? Only in this way you can enter into the mysteries of my understanding. It is verse 11.54, and basically it is about today's subject matter, because we are speaking about Gyan, knowledge, and about Gyayam. Gyayam means object of knowledge, or someone who has to be understood using this spiritual knowledge, means Krishna. And when one understood who Krishna is, he also understands who he is. These two processes, to understand who Krishna is and to understand who am I, are interrelated. There is analogy. For example, we are on the streets or in the field somewhere, and sunrise is going on, and we see this sunlight, and after some time we see light, we see sun itself. And because of the sunlight, we are able to see ourselves also. So these two processes are interrelated. To understand who Krishna is, automatically it means that we understand who we are. This process, when we chant holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, helps us to understand who we are, who Krishna is. And these two processes, to understand who he is and who am I, are interrelated. And by undivided devotional service, one can go through this process of transformation from false ego to real ego. Otherwise, this false ego, this misunderstanding of oneself, that I am a man, I am a woman, I am American, Indian, Russian, Philippines, Indonesian, and so on. All these coverings are just bewildering, the eternal part and parcel of Krishna. This sense of I am is ego. And when the sense of I am is applied to this false body, it is false ego. When the sense of self is applied to reality, that is real ego. So means the sense of self, one cannot annihilate the very sense of self. One cannot do it. This sense is always there. Impersonalists, they are trying to become free from the very sense of self. But it is technically it is not possible, but we can change our self-conception by practicing devotional service. Also, here in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that for making advancement in spiritual life, we need particular impetus, or motivation in the form of pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distresses of birth, death, old age, and disease. Means we need positive motivation, we need negative motivation at the same time. We can read from books or we can listen from the classes how nice spiritual world is, and how it is so nice to deal with devotees and so on. But negative motivation in the form of knowledge that Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, it is not good, it is troublesome situation, it is troublesome condition. This knowledge is also needed. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport, otherwise there is no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life. Because person, he can take a decision, okay, it is nice in spiritual world, but it looks like here in material world is also more or less comfortable, and I can stay here, I can remain here, because in order to get to spiritual world, one has to pay a price for going there. One has to put endeavors. Why should I trouble myself? Let me just have my small little happiness of this material world and some troubles with this happiness altogether. So negative motivation is really needed. The knowledge how birth is painful, how death is painful, about troubles of old age and diseases. This knowledge is needed. Sometimes maybe we should visit. We should go. Maybe we should go to hospitals or to hospices or to some places where we can see with our own eyes that people are suffering, and this material life is troublesome. Otherwise, if we are not going there, how we can understand that there are people who are going through these troubles? Because the culture of materialistic society is such that usually they are hiding these troubles through which people are going through. Old age, diseases, everything in hospitals, and everything is closed and no one can enter and we don't know what's going on inside. So this knowledge is needed, this particular experience, when we see that other living entities are suffering, and when we see that they are suffering, it is not that we just observe, but we can give prasadam, for example, to these people if they are accepting, and we can help somehow to these people. And in Srimad Bhagavatam we have very nice chapter about distresses of birth, death, old age and disease. It is chapter number 31 from 3rd canto. If you wish, you can read. Very important chapter 31st chapter of the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, where these distresses are described. So Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport that these kinds of sufferings should be discussed. Materialistic culture is such that usually we avoid such subject matters like death or diseases and so on. Usually we are discussing our successes, our achievements, but it is part of our sadhana. Srila Prabhupada gives the instruction that we should discuss this subject matter about samsara. At least time to time it should be discussed. Of course, one can go to another extremity to give such classes where only these distresses of samsara are described, such negative classes, Srimad Bhagavatam classes, Bhagavad Gita classes. Maybe you even have heard such speakers who are giving such classes about how difficult and how troublesome to remain in material world, to stay in material world. So both motivations should be presented there in our narrations, in our classes. How troublesome is samsara and how nice Krishna is, how nice devotional service is.